Kristen, Kyle, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us. Come on. Just wrapping up our trip, 3 days. And the big takeaway here is I never travel any place just to see one person. So when you sales guys are out there traveling, you need to then try and find 1 or 2 or 3 other people to see. The commodity manager of Electrolux wanted me to text her. That was her preferred method of contact. She was getting 200 emails a day. She said, just text me. This was 5 years ago. I'm like, okay. Literally could get her every time.
What's up, guys? Kyle Milan here with Manufacturing Tribe TV. Today we're at MD&M Minneapolis show.
You're always going to remember that person that was different than everybody else. So let's talk standing out and being unique.
We're back with another episode. We've increased some of our production value, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Brett's got a question. How segmented do you make the emails every 2 to 4 weeks? Are you sending to the broad group of contacts or do you customize? I think that you could do it both ways, but I think in general, everybody needs to see your content. Everybody needs to see something that you're creating and something that you can provide value to.
You can tell a story a whole lot faster in a 3-minute video than you can in a 14-page article or 10 2-page articles.
Everything's about brand awareness and content right now, and it will continue to be that. So focus on producing some sort of content, and if you're selling B2B, which I'm assuming most people here are, focus on LinkedIn.
Number one, we do not charge for this stuff. I put all of my content out there for free. Send it to somebody that you feel may get some value out of it, and also engage. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll get to all of the comments after the break. Those comments mean the world to us because it shows that you guys care. So don't just sit there and watch, but please engage and hit those thumbs on LinkedIn. What is up, guys? We are live. It is Wednesday, February 9th. We're a few minutes late to get started. Ran into some technical difficulties, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this from the comfort of whether you're on the road or at home, working from home. We want you guys to comment, especially on this show. We're going to go through a lot of stuff similar to other shows where we're doing a screen share tutorial. So if you have been using LinkedIn as a sales resource to build prospect lists and do lead generation, then in this episode, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to update your profile to get the most attention and have the most amount of success in 2022. So we're going to jump right into it. For those of you that follow the show and the content that we make on a regular basis, you know that a few weeks ago we did a full tutorial. It ended up being something like 40 minutes long about how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator as a prospect building list and how to engage with people and build out your network and search and find accounts and people at those potential companies that you're trying to do business with within those accounts. And so today we got a lot of private messages coming through over the last few weeks saying, hey, can you do a video going back one step, showing me how to update the LinkedIn profile, which we have videos out there, but they are a couple years old. So on this episode, we're going to dive in and do a screen share, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what is the most important. We will be throwing a link up in the comments section, linking to that video on Sales Navigator. If you guys don't have Sales Navigator right now, you need to buy it. It's like $79 a month. That's kind of step 2. This is going to be step 1 of what you need to do first before you really build out your profile. So leave comments in the comment section, questions you have. If you guys have seen LinkedIn work for you and you want to validate that for the rest of the audience, please do so. Once we get through the tutorial, then we will go into answering those questions and comments. Primarily, we talk to industrial manufacturing people, technical salespeople in that world, technical salespeople in software and technology and things like that. But this tactic can be used to find like any industry that you're in. If you're serving B2B, then this is what you want to focus on. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to remove my. Okay, so you're looking at your normal LinkedIn feed. The first thing you want to do is click on your profile to get into the back end. Okay, and it's showing that I'm live, and we definitely don't want to click that because we will get some picture-in-picture. So right here on the top, you're going to want to update and edit your public profile. Let me just flip back to make sure you're seeing that. Yes, you are. And let me remove my. You want to change your URL. So by default, this URL is going to have your first name, dash, last name, things like that. You're going to want to update this pencil icon and put in whatever you, if ideally, if you can put first name, last name, that's great. Save that. Next thing you want to do is go into your visibility. So your visibility is where you're basically saying, is your, like, who can see your public profile? And if you're going at it from a sales standpoint, then you want to try and make everything public, right? You want to be able to show up on Google search engines. You want Google to be able to index your profile. Anything that you do, you want to show up. So by default, there's a lot of things that aren't checked. I basically leave everything open. So my profile's public visibility is wide open. I click here down in the public section. I'm showing everything: background photo, headlines, website, summary, all of that stuff there. You can create a badge, but it's not really necessary. But you guys can kind of take this with your own personal preference and say, do you want to show everything or not? That's kind of up to you. So I personally just show everything. So once you get that done, that's kind of like the baseline of showing who's going to be able to see your profile. So we'll close out of there. Once you get into this section, you're going to want to hit the pencil icon. And some of you are like, dude, I already know how to do this. We'll get into the beef of it in about 10 seconds to show you the value here. So you hit that pencil profile, and this is where you're going to edit your intro, your headline, your current position, all that stuff, education, location. The most important thing is your headline. Let me repeat that again. The most important thing is your headline. The headline is essentially what it is that what value you could provide to your potential new network connection in a short snippet. And so by default, LinkedIn is showing that your headline, which shows up here, by default, it's going to say your job title and the company you work at. Now, when you're sending out connection requests, you're not going to be like, you're not going to be just sending it out to people and have them say, oh, I know who this person is and the company that they work at. It's going to be a little bit more. Are we getting a little bit of a glitch? There we go. Getting a little bit of a glitch there. So they're not going to know who you are. You know what I mean? Just unless you work at a huge company, massive company, then they will know who you are. But for the most part, they're not going to know who you are just by saying, like, I'm Kyle Mylan and I work at ABC company and I'm in sales or I'm in marketing. Like, that doesn't do you any good. What you have to do is update this headline to talk in general terms and be relevant to the audience and to the potential person that you're trying to connect with. So if you're doing machining, you're doing injection molding, you're doing robotics, you're doing corrugated, you're doing chemicals, you're doing AI, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to be creative with the headline. Now, by default, it only shows like the first half of it or so. So you got to be strategic. It allows you a certain amount of characters, and then it'll run out of space. So if I tried to keep on typing in here, then eventually, if I tried to save this, it's going to say, nope, you've ran out of characters. Please try again. But you want it to be relevant. So like what it is that we do, what it is that I do, technical sales and marketing for industrial manufacturing companies. If I send you a connection request and you are in either technical sales, industrial marketing, you work for a manufacturing company, you're going to see my picture, you're going to see that headline, you're going to think, this guy is somewhat relevant. Let me at least click into his profile. That's all you're trying to do. The only purpose of the headline, like anything that you're doing from a marketing standpoint with graphics in somebody's newsfeed on LinkedIn, is you're trying to stop them and pause them from clicking ignore and get them to take a second look at your profile and dive in deeper. So showing you some quick examples of that. If I look at my network and people have sent me connection requests, I can see Will Clark, marketing account executive at Plastic City and Plastic Media, right? He didn't send a personalized message with it, but he's got his title and where he works at it. It's going to cut off. This guy sending me a connection request, it's cutting off. So you're looking at maybe 80 characters or so, 90 characters. This is on a desktop or a laptop. On your mobile, it's probably going to be a little bit less, maybe half of that. But you want to make sure that your headline is shown and getting to the point quickly, so that way somebody says, oh, he's in this industry, it's relevant to what I do. Whether you're an engineer, operations, purchasing, no matter what industry you're in, you have to make it relevant. It could be something like helping companies overcome their issues with industrial automation, helping companies overcome issues, or solving problems in the aerospace industry using advanced 3D printing. Whatever it is, you have to get creative. You can look at other people in the market. You can look at other people that you compete with and see what they're putting, but you got to get creative there. Your profile picture, that goes without saying, it should be some sort of good, clean, clear profile picture. It does not have to be professionally done. Your background image, which right now it's showing the live link to the show, but the background image, that could be personal. I don't think it has to be business related. I think it could be personal. It could be, if you like skiing, show some pictures of mountains that you've skied. If you're into fishing, it's perfectly fine to have that up there. Now, for most people that are in sales, they're going to put something relevant, some sort of background image that's relevant to what they're trying to do. If they're using their profile from a sales standpoint, or even marketing people from a marketing standpoint, they're going to want to have some type of graphic that represents that. You can pull something from your company website. LinkedIn will automatically resize it. You can shrink it. You can make it bigger. All those things. But you want to have something there. You do not want it to just be strictly dead space, because it just makes your profile not look complete. So after you get into the headline, then you can get into providing services. So you can add your services here, and you could talk in the about section. What is it that your services do? Work location, things like that. Then you can get in, and this is that section that pops up. Going back to my profile real quick. So next section is going to be adding license or search. You can do that if it's applicable. Going into the analytics and your resources. Now we get into the featured section. Okay, so the featured section is important because this is where you can link things, whether they're videos, articles, things like that your company's done, things that you've done. You want to fill this out, and it's really easy. Just by clicking the plus button, you can add a post, an article, a link, an image, whatever it is that you want to do, and then people will be able to see these, and then they can scroll through and look at different things. So right now we have 8 featured pieces of content on my profile, and we change this frequently because we want to make sure that it stays relevant. But you want to put something there. The whole purpose here is when somebody clicks on your profile and they start scrolling, you want to make sure that it's filled out, that it's not just a blank. I worked at this company with this job. I have nothing featured. There's no about section, nothing like that. And so you want to make sure that everything's filled out. Like, even if you didn't create the content yourself, even if it's content that your company has created, you still want to throw that up there and link it, because you're trying to drive attention, brand awareness to you as a personal brand, to your company, if you're doing sales and marketing. So put stuff up there to allow people to click through. The next section is just going to be your activity and stuff that you've posted. Then you get into the about section. So filling this out, the key here is taking up the vertical space. Okay, so you do not want multiple sentences. Let me try and do this all at the same time. You don't want all this stuff run together and then like that, and then adding, like, you don't want it to look like that. You want it to be filled out and taking up the full vertical space that's in here. I'm going to discard those changes, and you want it to be allow content to breathe and the room to breathe within this section. You want to fill up the vertical space as much as possible. Add bullet points. You can grab these little icons. They're just little HTML icons. You can Google search for them. You can go basic and add bullet points down here. You can fix grammar issues that we have. But that's the key there. Is the about section is going to talk a little bit about you, a little bit about what it is that makes you different, experience that you have. It does not have to be super lengthy. You can just put a few sentences, maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs spread out vertically, and then add some quick bullet points in, whether it's you're pushing for your company brand, you want to talk about you service these industries, you solve these issues, things like that. A lot of people aren't going to click into the about section and open this thing wide up. A lot of people are just focusing on the top sections, and then where do you currently work at and what do you do? This is another issue that I see all the time, especially with technical sales guys. You get lazy, and you get lazy with filling this stuff out. So you want to talk about, want to make sure that you're linking to the right company, your title is correct, but then fully filling out this section again, filling out the vertical space. You want to take up as much space as possible. You want to list in your accomplishments, list in some things that are relevant. This doesn't have to just be strictly from a job standpoint. Like, we're using your network to build out your profile and connect with new people. We want to make sure that when they click on you, are you the expert in your field? Do you have the solutions to the problems that they have? Do you have the knowledge of the industries that they work in? So they very may well click this and expand it out, and also click on your company. And if your company link is broke, is that going to affect somebody connecting with you? Probably not. but why not just make sure that everything is clean and updated, right? Just from the get go. You need to focus on doing this. So making sure that that's filled out, going back to the previous company that you were at or the other company that you're at, making sure that that's filled out correctly. Any other companies that you have, making sure that this, like, I got lazy here and was just like, dude, I'm just filling out the last few companies that I've owned. And but then this one is a little bit more in depth. So it's like you can fill out as much as you want, going back as far as you want, but you want to make sure that it's filled out, that it's going to be relevant and be applicable to whatever it is that you're trying to push. If you're trying to show that you're an expert in the field, then you're going to want to prove that by saying, like, I work in these industries, I do these technologies, I've helped solve these problems, and all that information in there. Getting out of the experience standpoint, let me go back. Okay, so experience. After that, you're looking at education, put in whatever education you want there, make sure it's filled out. Adding the skills is cool. Like, it's not super popular to do and push on and be like, I've got 99 plus people that have said that I'm good at this skill. You don't have to do that, but one little hack you can do is if you're trying to get attention from somebody on LinkedIn and they're not responding to you, they're not engaging with you, going into their profile and clicking that you want to endorse that person for that skill, that gives them a notification, right? And then they're going to say, who just endorsed me for this skill? So listing out skills, it's more important that you're paying attention to other people's skills, people you're trying to provide value with, people you're trying to connect with, and click that you endorse them for that skill because it brings attention around you because they will see your name, click on your profile. Maybe they forgot who you were. Maybe they're connected with thousands of people and they don't know who you are. But having some basic skills in there is fine. From like a recruiting standpoint, job change standpoint, I even still think that this part doesn't matter. There's people out there that are updating LinkedIn profiles that'll say, oh, you got to update all this stuff. I would say skills is probably the least on my list. Recommendations, if you can get recommendations from people, great. Publications, if you've written anything in any public places, articles in magazines, digital stuff, all that stuff, you can add that in there. This is one of the things, like, we went through a process back in 2018, 17 and updated my profile with publications. We have not kept up to date with it. It's not super important to add that, but it is a little bit of bragging rights. And then going into your interests, companies that you follow, groups that you belong in. So right now, groups are super powerful. So I'm part of 27 groups. This is a significant amount of people. You want to make sure the groups that you're belonging to are relevant to what it is that you guys do. And you also want to understand, like, you can join a group of 3 people if you think that it's going to get bigger, but don't focus a ton of your attention on a group of 3 people. If you're trying to build out your network from a sales and marketing standpoint, join these groups so you can post in these groups, so you can engage in these groups. So right now I'm in 27 groups. We post to these groups all the time, content to help people grow. Some of them are bigger than others, and some of them I like more than others. But updating that interest in the groups that you're in. A lot of groups are private. The good ones are going to most likely be private. They need some sort of authorization for you to join it. And those groups are great to be able to push your brand even further. So that sums up kind of like the bulk of the profile. Now, what are you going to do next? What's the next step that you're going to do? I'm going to remove my screen from it. So what's the next step that you're going to do after you've updated your profile, after you've gone through this process? What do you have to do next? Now it's time to build out your network. Now it's time to go to that LinkedIn Sales Navigator video that I sent you that we're going to post in the comment section and show you, and link to that to show you exactly how to build out your prospect list. Literally everybody, if you're in B2B, everybody that you want to talk to, everybody that you're trying to engage with, everybody you're trying to do business with, they're on LinkedIn and they're so easy to find because you can find a company, expand it out, click through and look at all the employees in that company. And it's so easy to do. As long as you put in the time to do it. So in that video, I break down what to do step by step. For the most part, after you've updated your LinkedIn profile, you need to focus on spending like 30 to 60 minutes a day going out and finding new people to connect with, and then 30 to 60 minutes a day focusing on engaging with that network, because it's not just a one-sided thing. You don't want to turn this into, I connected with somebody, They accepted my connection request. Now I'm going to try and sell to them. It's all about providing value, building value, engaging with them. You engage with their content, they'll engage with yours. You're really trying to build that relationship to hopefully solve problems for them in the future if you can, and provide value to them in the future if you can. But it can't just be viewed as a one-sided thing of I'm going to connect with people and then try and push and sell them. You can't skip over that engagement part. But that's really step two. Update the profile first, then go in and build out your network. It's all about who you know and who knows you. And so if you're trying to get focus and attention around your brand, you have to be connected with as many people as possible. I think most people would agree that if you could be connected with 500,000 potential customers that you could provide value to, and that's what you have to think about, is like you have to be able to provide value to them, whether it's a comment that you're providing value to, engagement on their posts, sending them articles you've written, sending them articles your company's written, videos, anything like that. That's providing value to them. So you have to, if you can connect with 500,000 people that could potentially buy something for you that you can provide value to, wouldn't that be a good situation to be in? I think everybody would say, yes, it is. It would be. So the goal is to then get there, right? If you've got 200 connections, you can get to 2,000 quickly if you put in the time. You can get to 20,000 quickly if you put in the time. But you have to create content. You have to engage. You have to do posts. You have to do things like live events if you're open to that. You have to be using the platform, but it all starts with building out that profile first. For the most part, whether you're trying to search for a new company vehicle to be in, like vehicle meaning like an employer, if you're trying to find a new employer or you're trying to build out your network and grow it to sell and market, your profile is basically going to be the same. I know that from a job application standpoint, they've got the LinkedIn Easy Apply and it just sends your profile over. But your profile should pretty much be the same, whether you're looking to use it as a sales tool or looking to use it as an HR tool and find a new job. So really, once you do it once, the only section that you're really going to be updating is that featured section, because your job performance is pretty much going to stay the same unless you want to update some annual numbers. But adding links in that featured section is going to pretty much be the same. And then if you're not engaging, like there's tons of people that have sent me connection requests and they're somewhat relevant to the industry that I work in. But I click on their profile and look at their activity and it shows no activity in the last 90 days. So if somebody's not even active in the last 90 days, why would I want to connect with them? Right? They're just using the platform to serve their needs. And so if they're not active, then I'm not going to want to connect with them because all they're probably going to do is try and sell me something. And that usually is the case. Like nine times out of 10, if somebody's not active at all on LinkedIn and they're sending you connection requests and they're trying to build out their network, then most likely they're going to just get your acceptance and then try and sell you something through messages, or just grab your email address and try and sell you stuff through there. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back, guys. Leave any comments in the comment section. We'll answer all the questions, anything that pops up in about 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Dream job for a sales engineer, I break it down into two main areas: opportunity and support. I mean, some people want to have the entire country or entire region under their belt to be able to travel and do all that stuff. Whereas other people, if they've got family and kids and they don't want to travel as much, then maybe the opportunity for them is working remote, not going into the office every day. And the second thing is going to be support. One of the most golden handcuffs for anybody in technical sales, they get brought in as a hunter. So they're hired like, I need you to hunt for business. I want you to grow my company, grow my region, whatever it is, right? They land the new business, they bring it in. And because you don't have the support team in place, you have now just put on the golden handcuffs onto a salesperson, which is you did your job, you're getting paid for that job. But now I need you to actually handle that, which is going to take you away from hunting for more business. I would say the best CRM for you to use would be HubSpot. And I'm not saying that because we are a partner with them. I'm saying that because I've used almost every single type of CRM out there. What it comes down to at the end of the day is, what are your people actually going to use? You can have the best CRM system, but if they don't use it, it doesn't matter. I mean, HubSpot's cheap. You can get into it for $50 a month. And it does everything you need it to do for $50 a month. You don't have to go to the marketing professional at $800 or $850 a month. I think too often industrial companies are using Salesforce. And like I've said in other episodes, Salesforce is more of an enterprise solution. It's not something that's great for like 5 people, but HubSpot's the easiest to use, easiest to integrate.
and it can grow with you as you grow. For sales, working with estimating, yes. If you're just getting started, if you have a small company, I could see you doing all that. The line I wouldn't want to have to cross is doing the sales, doing the estimating, and then also creating whatever it is. When I started this agency 6 years ago, I was literally doing everything. I didn't have my first employee or help for probably 6 to 9 months. So I was building the web, doing all the sales, running the business, doing all the project management. I did it all myself. And so eventually start getting people under you to take pieces of your responsibility off of your plate so you can look at bigger picture. That's usually the way to grow and scale a company. So I would say if your company is small, yes, that is normal. But I would want to try and make sure that there's a plan in place with the ownership or the bosses to make sure that that's not the long-term path that you're going to go down.
All right, guys, we're back. We're going to take a look at the comments. So far, the audience has been pretty quiet today for this hump day on the 9th. Real quick, I'm going to show the link. So on YouTube, this is the link. It's in the comment section where you want to find that LinkedIn Sales Navigator video. You can just go to my channel also, Kyle Milan. Just search me on YouTube if you're not already subscribed, and just go to that video. It's 38 minutes screen sharing, walking through exactly how to build a list from scratch, find accounts, find people to engage with. That is a great resource once you get into that second step. And it looks like Nick got a private message from one of the viewers. What kind of tone should I take with my written description? Should it be polished and professional, or can it be more relaxed and familiar? I think the tone, whatever fits your personality. I don't feel like it has to be dry or like authoritative unless that's how you are, right? It should be somewhat relaxed, but it should also be professional. I think that it's just like once you put it out there and people see it, like you can't take it back. And especially if you go through and click on making everything public, that's really where anybody's going to see that information. They're going to see your picture, they're going to see your about section, your headline, your experience, all that stuff. And so if that's out there, you just got to think like, how do I want that tone to come across? Another common question that people get is not necessarily on the profile, but like how much time should I spend on LinkedIn engaging with people? And going back to what I've said numerous times in numerous videos, you have to spend time engaging. This is not one-sided. You have to engage with people, leave comments, thank people for things, congratulate them on things. That's the best way to do it. It's not just all about you and what you can gain from this relationship. It's all about what can you provide value to. Okay. And we've talked to hundreds of people. There's a whole tutorial course that we've sent people through on how to dominate on LinkedIn, how to update their profile. That's one step of it. How the algorithm works. We've talked to hundreds of technical salespeople about this. And what I've always seen the biggest issue is like, all right, they've spent the time, they've updated their profile, and they started to use Sales Navigator and started to build out their searches and start to engage. But then life gets in the way, work gets in the way, and they just forget. You have to be doing this every single day. I could promise you that if you're in B2B, and especially if you're in industrial and manufacturing, because that's the space I live in every single day, LinkedIn can be the most beneficial platform to you to use, and it can be more important than phone calls. It could be more important than email marketing, all that stuff. Trade shows, definitely, because you can reach people directly and you can do it now. You don't have to wait. But this can be the most important platform. But the first step is you got to update that profile. And if you don't do anything else in your profile, what you have to do besides updating the pictures, if the only other thing that you do on the profile is update your headline, then that's okay for now. But the headline is the most important. As I showed you on the screen, when people are sending connection requests, it just shows a picture and that headline. And you do not want it to be like sales at this company, marketing at this company. You want it to be able to be relevant and resonate with something that it is that they already do. So it looks like we're cleared out for the comments. So we're going to end this show quickly, guys. As always, we appreciate you guys joining live. Even if you don't leave comments, we appreciate it. Share it with people that you know. Be sure to go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. A lot of people are like, I didn't even know you had a YouTube. Go to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you get notified as we keep uploading these videos on industrial sales, technical sales, and industrial and manufacturing marketing every single week. And be sure to stay tuned on Mondays and Wednesdays at noon when we go live, and we will see you guys.